I didn't specifically point out any undos or redos. I pretty much figured you probably know they were available in this application. They are under the edit. They are Control Z just like in other applications. So you can undo basically anything that you've done since you've last saved the document in here. Obviously, if you close out the file and you open it back up, you can't undo anything that was saved from that previous, just like Word. So no different there. So I'm going to draw a few more shapes out here. So I can show you what's going to happen next. And so just get a bunch of shapes. I guess I should have done this earlier when we had a bunch of shapes out here. And again, clicking off so I can get some different coloring in here. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I should have paused the video while I did this. I apologize. And okay, I already explained that we do have the layers panel, and this should always be expanded whenever you're doing anything in here. So in Illustrator, and if you know how to use Photoshop, it's completely different than Photoshop. In Illustrator, it will give you one layer. Every time you draw something, and it doesn't matter what tool you use in here, if you use the pencil tool, I'll go grab that. Every time you draw something, and I better give this stroke a color, we're not going to be able to see it. Okay. It shows up as a path. These are called paths within this default layer that it created for you. These paths within there have what's called a stacking order. So I'm going to go ahead and click off so nothing is selected. So the very first thing that I drew when I had this document open was this star right here. It's at the bottom of the stack. You can see when I went ahead and I drew the square, it's covering up a little corner of it. And it's completely covering up this right here. So I'm going to go again and draw another circle over this entire spot right here. Okay, because that's the last thing that I drew, it came in at the top of the stack. It's very large, and so it's covering everything up. So a lot of times students will say, I drew it, but now I can't see it. I can see it over here. If you want to define this star, you can click on it. It's going to show you where that path is. But then the second thing you have to take a look at is where is it in the stacking order? Okay, it's under this ellipse that you drew, and it's just completely covering it up. That's all that's happening there. So what can you do if you wanted that star to actually be on the outside of this green circle? You can change the stacking order. So I'm going to go find that again. There it is. So all you have to do is you can click on the path. You can drag this around wherever you want. You can't drag it outside the layer, you're getting the no sign. But if I bring it all the way to the top of the layer stack, now I can see it actually showing up here. And this works for everything that you have in here. If you want everything to show and this green circle to be behind it, then you probably should move that green circle to the bottom of your layer stack. Now everything shows above it. So this is the bottom, this is the top. I'm going to go ahead and move this back up so I can show you a few other things in here. Okay, so I'm going to say I want this square to show up on the top of this. You can use some of the menu options. I'm just going to show you how they work. I think it's easier just to drag and drop over here in your layer stack. But across the top you have an object menu and an arrange menu. Now you have bring to front and you have bring forward, send to back, send backward, and send to back. Bring to front will put it completely at the top of the layer stack. Send to back will put it at the bottom of the layer stack. These other two options will either bring it forward one path at a time or send it back one path at a time. So if you don't really want this on top of everything else, then you can try bring it forward. You can see it moved it up one. I still can't see it. So you can keep trying to bring it forward And I know that this big green circle, so I'd have to do it quite a few times. So you can go up to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. We'll put it at the very top of the layer stack, and then there's my blue square. Okay, so we constantly have this open. If you lose anything, try and find it. So let me see, I have something else under here. So I want this pencil path to show up. I just need to move it above whatever's blocking it. And that pencil path doesn't have a fill. Let me give it a fill so we can see it. Okay, so there it is at the top of the stack. It'll take some time before you're going to lose quite a few things before you remember to check your stacking order, but that's how it works.